Well, hello lovely planners, and I hope you're doing well. Today I'm so excited. I'm gonna show you a super easy DIY trick to save tons of money. I'm going to show you how to make your own napkins for any events that you may have. These are super easy. You can make them any colors you want. You don't even need a sewing machine to do it. For this DIY project, you will need liquid dye color, the color of your choice. I pick the quartz rose. You'll also need white fabric, 100% cotton or polycotton with less than 35% polyester so that the dye can adhere to the fabric properly. You will need a big pot that fits all of your napkins, some metal tongues, rubber gloves, a measuring cup, and some salt. Okay, so the first thing I did is to cut my fabric in the amount of napkins I needed it. So before you purchase your fabric, make sure you calculate how many meters you need in order to create your napkins. My napkins are currently 30 centimeter by 30 centimeter. The next step would be to get ready your dye. So you put your big pot onto the stove. Depending on how many pounds of fabric you have, approximately, you will need half a bottle per pound. So let's say you're making 100 napkins. So I would suggest that you calculate what's the weight of your 100 napkins and then prepare the dye accordingly. Then you need to add about a gallon of water per pound. So let's say you have 3 pounds of fabric, you will have 3 pounds of water. Then you bring it to a boil, and once it's boiling, you add the salt. The salt is basically just to set the dye and make sure it's as bright as possible. The next step would be to boil the fabric inside your pot. I am using a very small pot, and I only have a few napkins that I wanted to dye, so for me this pot was big enough. But for you, if you're doing a huge amount of napkins, you may want to use a really big pot. You will boil the fabric for around 10 minutes. This is where the dye is going to be the most concentrated, so you want to make sure that you move everything around. After that 10 minutes, I would suggest that you leave it in the pot for about 30 minutes to make sure that the color is fully adhering to the fabric. Once this is done, just remove the fabric from the pot and put it on the side and let it cool down. Once it's cooled down, I would suggest that you wash the whole lot of your fabric with some soap. Once your fabric has cooled off quite a bit, which takes about a few minutes, I would suggest that you wash the whole thing. I only use natural detergents for my laundry. The brand that I use is Bioval. It is up to you to use whatever you have at your house. So I just did a quick cycle because the towels are not dirty. You just want to remove the extra stain inside of it. And then after this, you fully dry them. Once they're dry, you can fully see the real color of the fabric. So you can see on my screen it's really light, but in person it's a little bit darker. It is a very soft pink. This is what I needed for this event that I'm throwing. Before I start doing the edges of each napkins, what I like to do is to iron them flat. It's just nicer and it's easier to sew once it's all straight. If you don't have a machine, no problem. This is where the step may vary depending on what you have at home. I do have a machine, but I'm going to show you a way to do it as well without. I turned one time the edge and ironing it flat, and turn the same edge again to make sure the raw edge is inside and it does not fray. This gives me a really nice finish, and the napkins will last forever because the fraying edge is sealed in within the seam. So I go around 4 corners, then I will go and sew each edges with my machine. So I'm just using regular needles with some thread that matches my fabric, and I just sew it up. So slowly I sew each corner of the napkin. Make sure all of my edges are nice and neat. And that completes pretty much the technique for sewing it with a sewing machine. If you don't have a sewing machine, it is really easy to also make these with some no seam sticker tape. I will link below what I've used. You can buy it anywhere. Pretty much any fabric store will have this in stock. There's different brands. This is just a brand I use. I'm used to that brand. I've been working with it for a long time and I know it's gonna work, so I just keep buying the same over and over. Okay, so now you just apply it and then you hire it on. Not too much. You don't want to put too much heat, otherwise the whole tape was going to just melt into the fabric and it's going to be useless. I'm just peeling off the other side of the tape to reveal the sticky side on the other side. Sometimes it could be like really hard, so take your time. You don't want to peel it off your fabric. And now I just turn my edge like I did for sewing. I just do a smaller edge, and once this is done, I double turn it so that my seam allowance is fully sealed inside and it will not fray. Don't forget to iron it to seal the whole thing, and now it's done. It looks perfect, and you know what? You don't have a seam. It looks even better than when it's stitched with the sewing machine. So I hope you liked this video and you found it as useful as I think it's useful. It's so easy, so practical. You can make those with any type of fabric. It could be a pattern, it could be anything you want. You can even dye them yourself the exact color you want. It is so easy to do and it's gonna save you tons of money. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends or someone that you think may need this kind of item. It is so easy to make and you will save a lot of money with this thing. And if you like to do DIY project for any type of event, for your wedding, for a birthday party, do subscribe to my channel. I will have a lot of different DIY coming up that could be useful for any type of event. Till next time, keep planning!